Friends, hello everyone. Today we have a special issue. So to speak at the request of our subscribers, we received a big list of questions about secret clans, secret societies, and today we will talk about this. I'm in touch with Danila. Danila, hello.
Hello, Ernst.
If the list is prepared, let's not delay and commence right away. Let's proceed without delay. If you happen to enjoy this video, kindly give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to share it with your friends. Your attention is very important to us. Let's go.
Ernst, the questions we have for you are incredibly intriguing and thought-provoking. However, I understand that they may touch upon sensitive subjects. If any question makes you feel uncomfortable, simply refuse to answer and I will move on to the next one. I would also like to direct this message to our viewers. Before watching this video, make sure you have viewed our previous 2 research videos on clans, the Illuminati and the Freemasons. Therefore, I have attached links to these videos at the bottom of this clip. You can see them too. If you have not seen them, I strongly recommend you to.
Friends, just wanted to remind you that our videos are now being posted on Patreon for your enjoyment. If you desire, you may consider subscribing to Patreon and becoming our patrons, supporting us financially. By doing so, you will gain access to complete releases without any edits, inclusive of all draft material. This will provide you the opportunity to fully experience every aspect of our content. For those who are interested, the link to Patreon will be below this video, so subscribe and we shall start.
Ernst, well, let's start with the first question. Do all members of the clan, we are basically talking about the structure of your clan, do all members of one clan know each other, or are they acquainted with only the representatives of their branch? That is, in general, how does the interaction between members in this kind of organization happen?
Our clan has no branches. Our clan has a hierarchy. The senior members know the lower, but the lower ones do not know all the higher ones. That is, one has to reach a certain level to be recognized and to be invited. That means if you've recently joined the clan and wish to, figuratively speaking, acquaint yourself with every member, it won't be an immediate success. Initial success requires proving your loyalty and demonstrating that you truly have importance within the clan. Contributions are less significant in comparison to actions. Any helpful actions towards the clan are of utmost importance. While there are no physical branches, the hierarchy levels ensure that information flows down. The higher levels possess comprehensive knowledge of the lower ones. All information about new members is collected before they join. Before the registration, they are trying to find out about the person through the FBI. In case this individual resides within the borders of America, including the United States or Canada, they are able to access relevant information. Otherwise, they will explore secret services to obtain the necessary information. And if there is anything to complain about in this person, even a shadow of danger, this person is not accepted.
I will occasionally add something from myself if it seems appropriate. Ernst, tell me if, for example, you're walking down the street and meet the clan member. Hypothetically, how will you identify him? I don't know, do you have identifying patches, marks, rings, earrings, or something like that? Or are there absolutely ordinary-looking guys and one wouldn't guess what they do in real life if looks at them?
Well, these are not Masonic lodges in which you have to wear rings, although in principle Freemasons also are not obliged to wear rings all the time. This is more for the meetings themselves, all these clothes. Furthermore, there exists another notion that allows for a casual greeting and a relaxed conversation when encountering a member of one's own clan on the street without the need for secrecy involved. However, if you happen to encounter him with others, it is implied that you should refrain from acknowledging him. It is essential to pass by without showing any familiarity, and only if he discreetly signals you approach him. In such a case, you would have the privilege to come closer and engage in conversation. Yes, that is, you should not compromise him in any way, because maybe the person doesn't want to talk about it. Naturally, if you are walking alone and he is walking with a group and he comes up to you and starts talking to you one-on-one, it is normal and no one hears anything. If you were to approach him while he is surrounded by a group of people and say hello, even just saying hello, he would feel compelled to explain your identity and extricate himself from the situation. And lies are always visible, so it is forbidden. Well, there are no identifying patches like rings, for example, not outside at least. Inside there are, but only for the higher levels. They have jackets. 3 elders have robes. Colors such as red, blue, and green can be worn based on ranking. but in general, there are no restrictions on what you can wear. And the rings we don't use either.
I got it, that when seeing someone on the street, we will never know that this person belongs to the clan.
No.
I got it well, Ernst, but how does the communication and interaction between members of the clan take place? Do they use any means of communication other than the usual, like cell phones, social networks, and so on and so forth? Or do they have their own special channels of communication, some kind of special messengers, telepathic communication, or something else in this spirit?
As far as I know, but then again I can't judge for everyone, because I'm not in the highest rank, neither in the lowest one, due to seniority. I am aware that the most prestigious positions within the hierarchy communicate using specialized messengers that are secretly designed for this purpose. For us, there is a courier service that delivers letters. A courier comes if it's really something important, which is an invitation to a meeting, to a camp. Letters are sealed for the sake of confidentiality and to maintain a level of privacy. This ensures that sensitive information remains protected. Concerning the telepathic communication, I am 100% sure that higher rank uses it and communicate directly. However, it is important to realize that telepathy does not allow for complete disclosure of all information. There are certain messages that can be sent, like short thoughts or some messages of emotion. However, it is not possible to convey the content of the letter using telepathy as the means of communication. This method does not function in such a manner. A simple ordinary communication may be done through email or messenger. People generally don't have any concerns or hesitations when it comes to regular messengers. It is crucial, however, to make sure that phones are thoroughly scanned for common viruses. It's crucial to avoid having a smartphone containing various viruses capable of sending spam messages to others. Thus, precaution is significant. But if there is some very serious information, then of course it is delivered in paper form by courier service. So there is indeed a kind of secrecy in it.
Is it similar to what we did when I was trying to send you telepathic images and you said that they arrived? Do they understand these visions and proceed to contact the individual, or are they inclined to take a different action?
Well, they do a little bit more. You and I are still in the developmental stage, so to speak, young developmental stage. They are more advanced in this field, that is, they can already transmit certain images. Well, yes, it's pretty much the same. We had a recent situation with Danila where he urgently needed to reach me but couldn't. Our communication was temporarily disrupted, and he mentally sent me 3 images. One of them barely reached me, the other 2 I felt very strongly. I switched on my phone and immediately connected with Danila. In that moment, I could sense his presence and knew he was calling. It reminded me of the telepathic communication the elders in our clan use, operating on a similar level. Basically, I think they can send telepathic messages to anyone, but will those comprehend it? Again, there is a situation like you have to be ready to comprehend these messages, or you have to be very strong in telepathy. If you are ready, you will feel its presence, feel the vision, and accept it. If you're unprepared, you might unintentionally overlook it. Alternatively, a disturbance during a specific occurrence might disrupt your focus.
If it's not a secret, do they use the same techniques as we do?
The same, absolutely right, yes.
Great, I got it, yes. Well, Ernst, what about the educational process in the clan? The question was like this: how do you keep the Siddhas training in a very guarded secrecy, so that outsiders won't know about it? I think maybe the question itself isn't quite correctly formulated. That is it a top secret, or there is no secrecy at all?
To be clear, there is no highly classified data, but not everyone has access to this particular information on a wide-scale dissemination. The lessons themselves, lectures, educational processes take place in a closed seminar. Closed in the sense that data is not transmitted through an open conduit, maintaining a restricted flow of information. That is, participants must arrive at the place, must settle in a hotel. There are rooms where they can stay during the seminar. In these enclosed spaces, occupants are provided with furniture such as cozy chairs and tables for their convenience. There is an abundance of paper, as the usage of electronic devices is strictly prohibited, and this rule explains the absence of any photographs documenting these occasions. Participants are not allowed to use cell phones. You leave all at the entrance. Each day there is a certain amount of time, I think an hour or an hour and a half, when you can go and take your device, leave the lecture room, and only then send messages. Here, basically motor skills are trained, you write by hand. Initiations for the new siddhas are not something so super mysterious. There are teachers, lecturers. To request to host a lecture, the person must provide an overview of their program and submit it for consideration. If approved, they will be assigned a specific time slot. Additionally, there may be training sessions available. The teacher is required to attend the training as well. His role includes giving instructions and guiding participants in their tasks, providing guidance throughout the process. After returning home, you start to diligently practice your exercises. If you have any questions, you can begin to contact mentors through the established communication channels for assistance, as they are readily available to help you. That means there is absolutely no prohibition on asking questions. It's not like you're expected to just listen passively without having the right to ask anything, unless it has been explicitly stated beforehand, of course. Basically, people have the right to communicate with each other. Moreover, if individuals are in the same city, they can easily meet to discuss matters. This allows for even more effective interaction and collaboration. The only thing that is forbidden, strictly forbidden, is for example a person from a higher level who received knowledge of certain siddhas start to spread the information because he has no right to transfer it to the others. That means you are not allowed to share the knowledge gained from the seminar and apply it with individuals who were not invited to the event. If the person from the lower level doesn't have access, then you can't tell him.
Indeed, I understand. Ernst, have there been any instances where a member of the clan who was considered an outcast or troublemaker got expelled or clashed with other clan members or caused harm to those who admitted them into the clan? If you are permitted to discuss such matters, of course.
No, on my memory there were not such occasions. Very strong psychologists work there, they check the stability in advance, psychological stability of the person before joining the clan. Plus they give you very strong tests. You are subjected to different tests for a couple of days. Well, not 24 hours, of course, but literally there are a couple hours testing and then rest. And then they repeat same questions, but from different angles. That is to see if you were prepared or not for the answer. Check your reaction to some specific events. If there is any concern within you that troubles the psychologist, he will defer the question to another psychologist. If two psychologists reach the agreement that you are not suitable, then you will be disqualified from joining. In case of uncertainty, they consult the elders to make their decision. Well, and respectively, if 100% yes, then yes. And there was not such situation that the person, for example, left and behaved in a weird way. That is, for example, siddhas that I'm talking about. I've asked for the permission to talk about them. And trust me, if I am no longer allowed to proceed with this task, I will take the necessary steps to erase all the stored information. Specifically, without any sort of negotiation, I will be forced to terminate my channel upon receiving this request from the clan. You do not. You have no right to dispute the decision, as all the provided information originates from a higher authority. You should also note that if an individual begins to doubt or fight it in any manner, they run the risk of being disconnected from the egregore and subsequently losing all their siddhas. Whatever achievements they have, they might just stay in theory and nothing more.
Were there any topics that you were forbidden to talk about and you never mentioned them anywhere or said anything about them at all?
As the main topics in the lectures?
Well, at the lectures also. I mean, in general, at the lectures and on the channel.
There was, for example, one topic that I was forbidden to tell about at all. It is so-called call of the earth. One can utilize the Earth's connection to deliberately create a specific natural abnormal occurrence. However, it is vital to note the immense danger associated with this process, and disclosing any details about it is strictly prohibited. Therefore, now I want to close the question. I have no right to further talk about it.
Yes, indeed, I have understood completely now. Okay, Ernst, if not a secret, how many people there are approximately in a clan of this kind usually? So is it few dozens or few hundreds, and are there women in it?
No. There are women, yes, but what's interesting is that men can join at a relatively young age, around 30-35 years old. This age is considered young for men. On the other hand, women usually join after reaching 50 years old. There is a clear bias towards women prevailing in certain situations. By the way, we do not have this BLM policies that if you are black you will be accepted. That does not matter. We don't have that. I mean, there are a few highly skilled black individuals who are extremely talented. They are extremely intelligent, although they're around the age of 70 or 80 and have experienced a great deal throughout their lifetimes. However, typically women come to this place only after they have established a successful career or raised a family, and then feel the desire to further develop themselves when opportunities arise. I have never encountered any young women in their mid-20s or mid-30s over there.
I understand that throughout history there were clans that exclusively comprised white males, as I found in various books. This trend may have persisted until the middle or possibly even the end of the 20th century. These were strictly male societies. Things have changed significantly. Moving on to the next question, I would like to inquire about how clan representatives interact with their families. Are their relatives aware of their membership in the clan? Do they have knowledge of the presence of siddhas, or is this information intended to be kept confidential? Additionally, I am curious to know, do the children and grandchildren of clan members possess the potential and desire to become inherited members of the clan?
This is such a complex question. I'll start from the end. There's no such a thing like inheritance or transfer of knowledge by family ties. In principle, the elders have no families. This I know as a fact. Arne didn't have a family. He had disciples. In most cases, it is not explicitly prohibited. It does not classify you as a lawbreaker, and there is no specific sanctioning regulation in place. But if a person is really very deep into practice, he forbids himself something in this life. But in general, considering the practice at home, I cannot speak from my experience. However, based on my recollection of our conversations, there are others who choose to practice in secluded locations to avoid any disruptions from their families, and some of them do not even inform their families about it. That is to say, while they acknowledge engaging in spiritual practices, they generally lack awareness of the specific type of practices they are involved in. It is evident that they do not exhibit the prowess of siddhas within their family dynamics. I have many acquaintances who know me personally, know that I do something, but I also don't demonstrate anything to them because a demonstration can cause a lot of attention and very many questions. And then there will be questions to your mentors like why this and that, and may require further explanations, so there will not be much benefit from this demonstration.
But there's no direct prohibition that if you have a wife or somebody else, you're not allowed to tell them?
No, there is not. It is more based on setup for an adequate reaction, and if a wife understands everything, then accordingly it is normal. Of course, if, for example, there is a man who was 20 years in the clan and suddenly married a young woman, for example on one of those influencers who like to post everything in the social networks, of course he should hold an explanatory conversation with her. Explain that it is prohibited to hype on it. Generally, clan members tend to form relationships with suitable partners who share their values and beliefs. They have a clear understanding of the importance and purpose of these connections.
Again, we are talking about an entrance barrier that lets in only the most conscious ones, which is essentially the most important thing.
Yes. The same moment, for example. Some guys looked for my Instagram and they asked me, well, of course I didn't have it at all. They asked if I used Instagram, to which I responded negatively. As for Facebook, the answer remained the same. Amazingly, this absence benefited me, as it prevented my newsfeed from becoming cluttered. Many individuals tend to inundate the page with unnecessary content, because they post absolutely everything, like before having a meal, after meal, before toilet, after toilet. That is already considered as some kind of inadequate behavior of a person. Yes, a man has the right to expose everything, but he must deliver his thoughts and not his every step in life. Because if he were to expose every single step he takes, at some point he will inevitably desire to reveal his activities within the secret society as well. Additionally, this transparency could also act as a sort of obstacle for his entrance into the clan. But I do not know what the selection criteria is when applied to Instagram or to TikTok, because I have never been in this HR committee. In principle, the simple reference to TikTok would immediately enforce a restriction to forbid an individual's entry to the clan, thereby denying any form of participation or engagement.
I understand. Ernst, can every member of the clan perform siddha levitation? Is levitation something that every person in the clan can do, or is it restricted to a specific few?
Well, siddha isn't just levitation, no. There is something people can exhibit as a demonstration. I mean, it's probably more of a mental thing that all members have certain abilities in. Numerous individuals are involved in telepathy, the ability to transmit thoughts and probably even influence outcomes. It is conceivable that each and every person is capable of achieving telepathic communication and event creation. Therefore, from the third or fourth levels onwards, one gains the capability to perform remarkable feats that may seem incredible. There are 13 levels in total, just so you understand.
13 levels. What's your level if it's not a secret?
You'll laugh, 7th?
7th level.
Well, on the 7th level, most people cannot do what I can because I had the fortunate opportunity to learn from someone who was on the 12th level, which should be mentioned as well. The 13th level is exclusively meant for executives, meaning that anyone determined to become an executive must reach this stage. However, on the 12th level, there exist highly skilled professionals who have no intentions of pursuing executive roles. Their sole desire is to carry out their preferred tasks. At times, teachers operating at the 12th level can possess more expertise than their counterparts at the 13th level. There may be variations in skill levels among educators, but their steadfast dedication remains constant. Because at the executive positions, people start to give a lot of time to management affairs, and they stop giving much time to SIDA's training.
Executive positions, yes, I see. And you didn't say how many people more or less are there in that kind of clan?
I suppose there are around 300 people in ours. During the last gathering I attended, which took place at the start of this pandemic, there were approximately 347 individuals present. That's what I know. Well, of course they don't all come at once, I understand. Definitely, if someone finds a certain matter interesting, they will take note of it on the common schedule. I believe there might be around 347 or 348 people involved in this clan. Therefore, individuals occasionally depart, hence due to specific circumstances. Thus, the influx of individuals is gradual but present nonetheless.
Understand. So it is possible to leave?
Of course you can leave. It's absolutely no problem. The only thing is that a person has to sign a non-disclosure agreement. He has to sign a non-disclosure agreement. He could probably be fined if anything happens. I am uncertain. I have not departed from the clan. I am at a loss for words concerning this matter. It is a situation that puzzles me. If I choose to depart from the clan, I will either inform you of my experience or keep it to myself.
I understand. Good. Then let's continue further.